Hi everybody, I hope you're all okay at home and enjoying the summer holidays. I'm back to read the next part of the BFG, so I hope you enjoy it. Last time we saw the BFG and Sophie were in the cave again, looking at the dreams, and they saw that all the other giants had gone off to England to gobble up little childlers. And Sophie quite rightly says, we've got to do something to stop them. So she's coming up with a plan today. Let's find out what that plan is. We've absolutely got to stop them, Sophie cried. Put me back in your pocket quick. We'll chase after them and warn everyone in England that they're coming. Redunculous, impossible, the BFG said. They's going 2 times as fast as me, and they's finishing their guzzle before he's even halfway. But we can't sit here doing nothing, Sophie cried. How many girls and boys are they going to eat tonight? Oh, many, the BFG said. The flesh-lumping giant alone, he has a most squackling wopsy appetite. Oh, will he snatch them out of their beds while they're sleeping? Ah, like peas in a puddle, the BFG said. I can't bear to think of it, Sophie cried. Then don't, the BFG said. For years and years, I was sitting here on this very rock every night after night when they's galloping away, and I was feeling so sad for all the human beings that they's going to gobble up. But I has to get used to it. There's nothing I can do. If I wasn't a titchy little runty giant, only 24 feet high, then I would be able to stop 'em. But they're absolutely out the window. Do you always know where they're going? Sophie asked. Always, the BFG said. Every night they's yelling at me as they go booting past. The other day they was yelling, we's off to Mississippi and Missouri to guzzle 'em both up. Disgusting. I hate them, Sophie said. And she and the big friendly giant sat there quietly side by side on the big blue rock in the gathering dusk. Sophie had never felt so helpless in her life. After a while, she stood up and cried out, I can't stand it! Just think of those poor girls and poor boys who are going to get eaten alive in a few hours' time. We can't just sit here and do nothing. We've got to get after those brutes. No, the BFG said. But we must. Why won't you go? The BFG sighed and shook his head firmly. I has told you 5 or 6 times, and the third will be the last. I is never showed myself to any human beings. But why ever not? If I do, they'll be putting me in a zoo with all the other giraffes and cattley piddlers. No, that's nonsense, Sophie said. And they'll be sending you straight back to an orphanage, the BFG went on. Grown-up human beings is not famous for their kindnesses. They's all squiffle rotters and grink sludgers. That simply isn't true, you know. Some of them are very kind indeed. Who? Name one. Well, the Queen of England, Sophie said. You can't call her a squiffle rotter or a grink sludger. Well, the BFG said. You can't call her a squeak pip or a not mucher either, Sophie said, getting angrier and angrier now. The flesh lumpeater is longing dearly to guzzle her up, the BFG said, smiling a little. Who? The Queen? Sophie cried out, aghast. Yeah, the BFG answered. Flesh Lumper says he's never eaten a queen, and he thinks perhaps she has an especially scrumdiddlyumptious flavour. How dare he? Cried Sophie. But Flesh Lumpeter says there's too many soldiers around her in her palace, and he doesn't dare try it. He'd better not try it, Sophie said. He's also saying he'd like very much to guzzle up one of the soldiers in his pretty red suit, but he's worried about those big black furry hats that he's wearing. He thinks they might be sticking in his throat. Well, I hope he chokes, Sophie said. Flesh Lump-Eater, he's a very careful giant, the BFG said. And Sophie was quiet for a few moments. Then suddenly, in a voice filled with excitement, she cried out, "I've got it! By golly, I've got it!" "Got what?" the BFG asked. "The answer! We'll go to the Queen! It's a terrific idea. If I went and told the Queen about those disgusting man-eating giants, I'm sure she'd do something about it." And the BFG looked down at her sadly and shook his head. "She'd never believe in you. Never in a month of Mondays." "I think she would." "Never. It's sounding such a wonky tall story. That Queen, she'll be laughing at you saying, 'What awful rubby squash.'" "She would not, you know." "Course she would," the BFG said. "I's told you before, human beings simply is not believing in giants." "Then it's up to us to find a way of making her believe," Sophie said. "And how is you going to get in to see the Queen anyway?" the BFG asked. "Now hold on a second. Just you hold on, because I've got another brilliant idea," Sophie said. "Your ideas is full of crodswoggle," the BFG said. "No, not this one. You say that if we tell the Queen, she'd never believe us." "I's certain that she wouldn't believe us." "Well, we aren't going to tell her." "We don't have to tell her," Sophie said excitedly. "We'll make her dream it." "That is an even more frosh-bungling suggestion," the BFG said. "Dreams is lots of fun. Nobody's really believing in dreams. You's either believing in a dream while you's actually dreaming it. As soon as you's waking up, though, you's saying, 'Oh, thank goodness, it was only a dream.'" "Well, don't you worry about that part," Sophie said. "I can fix that." "Never can you fix that," the BFG said. "I can, I swear. But first of all, let me ask you a very important question. Can you make a person dream absolutely anything in the world?" "Anything you like," the BFG said proudly. "If I said I wanted to dream that I was in a flying bathtub with silver wings, could you make that happen and make me dream it?" "I could," the BFG said. "But how? You obviously don't have exactly that dream in your collection here." "No, I do not, but I could soon be mixing it up, you know." "How can you mix it up?" "It's a little bit like mixing up a cake," the BFG said. "If you's putting the right amounts of all the different things into it, you's making the cake come out any way you want. Sugary, spongy, curranty, Christmassy, grab switchy. And it's just the same with dreams." "Go on," Sophie said. "I has dillions of dreams on my shelves, right or left." "Right." "I has dreams about bathtubs, lots of them. And I has dreams about silver wings. I has dreams about flying. So all I has to do is mix those dreams up together in the proper way, and I's very quickly making use a dream where he's flying in a bathtub with silver wings." "Ah, okay, I see what you mean," Sophie said. "But I didn't know you could mix one dream up with another." Dreams, they like being mixed up. They's getting very lonesome all by themselves in those little glassy bottles." "Right, now then, do you have dreams about the Queen of England?" "Lots of them." "And you have dreams about giants?" "Of course," the BFG said. "And about giants eating people?" "Swiggles of them," the BFG said. "And what about little girls like me?" "They's the commonest dreams of all," the BFG said. "I has bottles and bottles of dreams about little girls like you." And you can mix them all up, just as I want you to, Sophie said, getting excited now. Course I could. But how is this helping us? I think you's barking up the wrong dog. Now hold on, Sophie said. Listen carefully. I want you to mix up a dream in which you can blow into the Queen's bedroom, the Queen of England's bedroom, when she is asleep. And this is how the dream must go. Now on a minute, the BFG said. How's I possibly going to get near enough to the Queen of England's bedroom to blow my dream into it? You is talking dumb silly. I'll tell you that later, Sophie said, but for the moment, please listen carefully. Here's the dream I want you to mix up. Are you paying attention? Very close, the BFG said. I want the Queen to dream that 9 disgusting giants, each one about 50 feet tall, are all galloping across England in the night time. She must dream their names as well. What are their names again? Flesh Lump Eater, Man Hugger, Bone Cruncher, Child Chewer, Meat Dripper, Gizzard Gulper, Maid Masher, Blot Buddler, and the Butcher Boy. Yes, let her dream all of those names, and let her dream that they will be creeping around into England in the depths of the witching hour and snatching little boys and girls out of their beds. Let her dream that they will be reaching into the bedroom of the windows and pulling little boys and girls out of their beds. And then, do they eat them right on the spot, or do they carry them away to eat them? Or usually they pop them straight in their mouths like popcorn, the BFG said. Well then put that into the dream too. And then the dream must say that when their tummies are full, they'll go galloping back to Giant Country where no one can find them. Is that all? The BFG said. No, certainly not. You must then explain to the Queen, in her dream, that there is a big, friendly giant who can tell her where all those horrible beasts are living, so that she can send her soldiers and her armies to go and capture them once and for all. And now let her dream one last very important thing. You've got to let her dream that there is a little girl called Sophie sitting on her windowsill, who will tell her exactly where the big, friendly giant is hiding. And where is he hiding exactly? The BFG asked. We'll come to that later. Okay, so the Queen, she dreams her dream, right? Right. And then she wakes up and the first thing she thinks is, oh, what a horrid dream I've had. I'm so glad it was only a dream. But then she looks up from her pillow and what does she see? What does she see? She sees a little girl called Sophie sitting on her windowsill, right there in real life, right before her very eyes. How is you going to be sitting up there on the Queen's windowsill, may I beg? Well, you are going to put me there, Sophie said. And that's the lovely part about it. If someone dreams that there's a little girl sitting on her windowsill, and then she wakes up and there actually is a little girl sitting on her windowsill, well, that is a dream come true, is it not? I is beginning to see what you's driving to. If the Queen is knowing that part of her dream is true, perhaps she's believing the rest of the dream is true as well. That's it, Sophie said, but I shall have to convince her of that myself. You said you is wanting the dream to say there is a big friendly giant who's also going to talk to the Queen? Absolutely, Sophie said. You must. You are the only one who can tell her where to find these other giants. How is I going to meet the Queen now? I's not wanting to be shooted at by soldiers. The soldiers are only in the front of the palace, Sophie said. At the back, there's a huge garden and no soldiers in there at all. There's a very high wall with spikes on around the garden to stop people climbing in. But you're a giant. You could simply walk right over that wall. How is you knowing so much about the Queen's palace? The BFG asked. Well, last year I was in a different orphanage. And it was in London. We used to go for walks all the time around there. So is you helping me find this palace then? The BFG asked. I's never dared go and hide and sneaking around London in all my life. Yes, I'll show you the way, Sophie said confidently. I's frightened of London, the BFG said. Don't be. It's full of tiny dark streets and there are very few people about, in the witching hour. And the BFG picked up Sophie between one finger and thumb and placed her gently on the palm of the other hand. Is the Queen's palace very big? He asked. It's huge. Then how is we finding the right bedroom then? Well, that's up to you, Sophie said. You're supposed to be an expert at that sort of thing, aren't you? And you's absolutely sure the Queen will not put me in a zoo full of old caterpillars? Of course she won't, Sophie said. You'll be a hero, and you'll never have to eat snozzcumbers ever again. And Sophie now saw the BFG eyes widen, and he licked his lips. You mean it? No more disgustive snozzcumbers. You couldn't get one even if you wanted to in England. Human beings don't grow them, you know. That did it. The BFG got up to his feet. When is it you was wanting to mix this special dream then, Sophie? Right now, Sophie said. Right at once. And when are we going to go and see the Queen? Tonight, Sophie said, as soon as you've mixed up that dream. Tonight? Why's you in such a flush-bunkling hurry? If we can't save tonight's children, then we can save tomorrow's at least, Sophie said. What's more, I'm getting famished. I haven't had a thing to eat for 24 hours. Then we had better get crackling on, the BFG said, moving back towards the cave. And Sophie kissed him on the tip of his thumb. I knew you could do it. Come on, let's hurry. Next time, they will mix the dream up. All right. I will see you soon for the next part of the BFG. Be good and enjoy yourselves. Bye.